Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about a very large winter storm potential that will be occurring into this upcoming weekend. Now, this thing will be very vicious. As you can see, I have a still image of this pulled up that what the GFS model thinks will be occurring at around early Saturday morning of March the 12th. So this upcoming weekend, this is Monday when I'm recording this video, so it's still a bit away, but this thing definitely could be the biggest storm that we have seen in a while. We've seen quite a bit of activity, but especially how far and south this snow could be stretching into the deep south for March, rather incredible. But yes, for now we'll just have to look at the details, and I will be doing that today in today's video. And I do want to emphasize that this isn't confirmed yet. The track will change. The details aren't solid, but for the past few days, I haven't made a video, but for the past few days, I've been tracking this, and it hasn't really changed much. It's been consistent, and consistency is what we want. Now, along with this will be a bitter cold blast of air, bringing negatives into much of the northern United States. So yes, a very brutal cold air for March, and for many, this will be the kind of the last attack of winter. All right, so let's start talking about this. Before we do, though, I just want to say that if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing, consider liking. It's all about the weather. I continue making weather videos throughout most of the year about big events, and just whenever I guess whenever I want to. But yeah, so if you guys are willing to do so, that would be amazing. Otherwise, yeah, if you have any comments, leave them down below about this system, as there is definitely quite a bit of concern regarding this one. Let's start off by showing you different models. So in the weather, I may be speaking to a lot of newbies. I may be speaking, or newbies too, I guess, weather enthusiasm, weather hobbyists. But for most people that watch this, you know that there are weather models that meteorologists use to forecast the weather, and those are the tools that we use to see, what is the kind of prognosis of storms. If one model is showing it, but no other model is showing it, then that's probably a bad indicator. That means nothing's probably gonna come of that system. If most agree on a certain system, well, we have confidence, so that it's pretty significant. And in this case, that's one of those scenarios. We have many different models. I'll show you each, starting with the GFS, and I'll show you the system. Now, do note again, this is still far away. So these immediate systems that, for example, look, on Tuesday into Wednesday, there's going to be a rain system across the south and a bit of snow across New Jersey, Pennsylvania. If you see snow out of this, you're right. You don't think that this is the big one. This is not the big one. This is just a little precursor. So this could drop a few inches, but that's not the main system I'm talking about. The main system starts its showing across the northwest really today, and you can see it's making way into Montana, Idaho, Wyoming. There's a whole plethora of winter storm warnings, watches, and advisories that stretch anywhere from Nebraska, Colorado, all the way into southern Canada and Montana and the panhandle of Idaho, so very far to the north. Now, so we have this little system that's kind of uncorrelated, but look, we have a surge of cold air, again, pretty cold for March, and sorry about that. We also have quite a bit of warm air towards the south. Great. Let me take a look at these 2-meter temperature anomalies. You can see that while it isn't warm for the year, it's still relatively warm compared to what's further up north. And let me just show you the 2-meter temperature shaded. Great. And you can see that there's 30s and 40s. This is actually at a still frame in the morning, so during the days you could see 60s, 50s. Definitely a warmer environment than obviously further towards the north. What that means is that we basically have contrasting weather anomalies. So systems always like to squeeze between these two air masses, and you can see as I push this forward, these two will kind of increase and start fighting more and more. But definitely the cold side is more on the, I guess, impressive side. And look, so originally this system starts off very measly, and yes, this is it right here. You can see across Kansas, Colorado, Nebraska, definitely falling heavily this snow, and don't get distracted by the fact that it doesn't have any cold front, it doesn't have a warm side to it. It definitely could drop up to 6, maybe even 8 inches across some of these locations. Kansas City, Missouri. For some, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the biggest snow event of the season, depending on how much snow you've seen so far, as 6 to 8 inches is expected in Kansas, northern Kansas, portions of northern Missouri, you're in central Missouri. So if you haven't seen more than 6 inches, this may be the chance for a biggest snowstorm. If you have, probably not. But look, this is where things get interesting. We have a sharp, see that little feature right there? I will click on the vorticity right here, and right there, this is at a certain level. Let's see if I could find the 500. That's 850. Let's take a look at the, okay, so This is basically showing us the energy in an atmosphere and at certain heights, and basically this little piece right here is out ahead of a very, very cold air mass, and you could really see that even on the MSLP precip map right there. And what this does, basically it reinvigorates the cold air. So if I were to take a look at the anomalies, you can see that this is a darker shading of pink, even as far south as this first one, sorry, as significant as this first one. So these temperatures with this will be cold. You can see very strong negatives. But what this does is it basically makes the system, instead of being allowed to kind of just zoom off, right, and off kind of like a weaker system we've had the past few weeks, it's forced to deepen. It tracks a lot of moisture from the south, where again the Gulf of Mexico during March is already pretty active. And look, Oklahoma City, but for example, according to this model run, the GFS could be looking at several inches of snow, maybe even six plus half a foot. Portions of Arkansas, Missouri, again as well. And look, this thing, not only is it very powerful cold air, so no chances of this being a warm snow system with just a rainstorm with a little bit of snow, like you've seen with some of the systems this past week. This thing will be caused to will be kind of taking a track along a very strong jet stream. And let me just show you that the jet stream, 250 millibar wind, and you can see that is some very, very strong winds up above in the atmosphere. And look right there, you see how that peaks? That system takes advantage of that, and especially in the southeast quadrant of these jet streams, these systems often take a roller coaster ride among them while also intensifying. So let me go back to just hour 36, click on random time, and show you this step by step. So again, we've tracked up until around, this is now into Saturday. So if you live in Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, this will be occurring throughout Friday and Thursday for most. By Saturday or late Friday, you can see it spreading into Illinois, Indiana, and this thing is garnishing a lot of support from the south. It's getting pushed down from this very strong air mass from the north, but it's also being pushed to the north from this very warm air. So this system puts a lot of snow onto its cold side, a lot of precipitation. Look, Detroit seeing snow, Cleveland, right, Indianapolis. Now, look, this snow, because of how cold that air is, stretches way into Mississippi, Alabama, into northern Louisiana, Tennessee. Again, according to this model run, this will still change. On the warmer side, a very, very strong severe weather potential, lots of rain. And look how intense this system gets. 977, a lot of snow into the northeast. Not really, I guess, the best track for a monster producing snowstorm in terms of snow totals because of how quick it is. But notice extremely strong winds, very heavy snow on the backside, very warm, strong rain, heavy rain on the warm side, and then this thing does finally, I guess, cruise off. But southern Canada cities are stuck in its crosshair, could be just blasted. So yes, look at that, 937. That's an extremely strong system. I mean, those are just ridiculously strong winds. Hopefully that does not happen, because that would just would definitely be damage. That's equivalent to almost a Category 3 hurricane, that millibar pressure. So hopefully it doesn't get that low, but we will have to see. Regarding the precipitation, let me just show you that this includes rain, snow, everything. Notice obviously the track where it's the rainy side is pretty heavy, but even in that colder scenario, there's quite a bit of precip up there. So let's take a look at some of these total snowfall amounts. And again, you could see some of them are pretty big, especially for the south. I mean, 2 to 3 inches, if this were to occur, that's significant. And notice this thing across cities like Quebec could be dropping well over 3 feet. So in terms of centimeters, closing in on 60 to 70. So yeah, I mean, a monster system if this were to occur in a similar scenario. Now, will it? That's the $1 million question, because the GFS, let me show you its previous model runs. All right, so that was the most recent one. The one from today, from noon at today, still showed a decent system, just a bit further towards the north. The one at 6 o'clock, again, showed that kind of northern, that's actually tracked from a system that occurred today. But still, it was a slightly different scenario. So again, it was that snowfall map that I was showing you took into account this system as well. So I forgot about that, since the latest ones, this has now occurred, don't. But look, this is what the model run model showed today at 6 o'clock. Notice there's that little piece was further towards the north, right? And the system still developed though, and it was still very nasty, just a bit weaker, still 954 millibars. How about yesterday at the same exact time, right? So 24 hours ago. You can see these two things were more disconnected, and was a weaker system as a result. So the GFS has been consistently trending towards a stronger and more powerful system for for the U.S. now and Canada especially. Let's take a look at some other models, and I know this may get confusing. Why am I looking at so many models? Well, we have to see whether or not the GFS has support. If it's just a single model showing a 934 millibar snowstorm, that doesn't warrant itself much talking. Canadian model, very good model. Let's take a look at what it shows. So again, there's that little precursor. Could drop quite a bit of snow across Pennsylvania, the Northeast. Definitely something to watch for, but nothing extreme. Just to show you the snowfall amounts from that, you could see a generous 4 to 6 inches. Maybe not right by the coastal areas, but just away. Most of Pennsylvania could end up with 4 to 6 inches on a more aggressive scenario. So that is definitely something to watch for. Notice Canadian. There's that system right in Wyoming, Idaho, Utah, passes through those areas. Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, Kansas City. So there's that northern piece. Notice it does stretch into cities like Chicago, southern Wisconsin. The GFS doesn't show that. But then look, just like the other ones, it shows an extremely strong lobe of cold air move in, pushes this thing to the south, squeezes it, interacts with this warm air, and it is a bit of a weaker system. Still an impressive cold scenario, stretching with snow all the way into Tennessee, Kentucky. Pretty impressive, and it does end up intensifying and still producing a good amount of wind and snow for the Northeast. In terms of total snowfall, you can see that the amounts are still rather impressive, and the same with the total accumulated precipitation. Now, I do want to show you that from, say, 24 hours ago, the Canadian has been showing the system for a while, actually more consistently than the GFS. Just has been consistently showing it a bit weaker. Still, though, this is definitely an impressive storm for March, with that snowy side being extremely expansive. Now, let me show you the best model, I think, that, or I guess people think it's the best model. I would say that it's a very good model, and probably as good, or probably the best out of all the ones I've showed you so far with regard to any given storm. Let's see what it shows for this system. So again, there's that northeast first little precursor. Again, mix of ice, snow. Could drop quite a few inches of snow, or quite a bit. Nothing too extreme, but definitely that goes through. Notice that's on Wednesday into Thursday. For the most part, and then there's that little piece of energy that starts getting active, and there's that cold lobe of air, and we see that cold front stretching out snow again into Chicago, Michigan. So the European with the placement of that first band, a bit more similar to the Canadian. Still though, very it doesn't really matter that much for areas like Nebraska, Kansas. Either way, it looks like you will get hit by the snow depending on, or regardless of which scenario you look at. Just maybe certain areas like say Kansas City will get a bit less if a European comes more accurate. But look, there's that snow, very cold air. We see interaction from the ocean, and look, this one shows very heavy snow across Tennessee, Kentucky, concerning a severe weather potential. And look, as this thing rides up the northeast coast, it's squeezed from that north. It can't go further inland because of the very cold air. Here, very strong winds from the south. So not only do we have a very strong cold front, lots of moisture, lots of snow, and this thing speeds off and intensifies to a very impressive storm as well. And I do want to say that the cold air behind this thing, at least for, it won't be long sustained, but it will be ruthless. It will be extremely cold. So let's just show you that total accumulated precipitation map from the European model again. You could see very heavy rain and snow. This is just liquid, so it shows both. An impressive system, especially, this severe weather could be concerning for areas like Florida, Georgia, Alabama. Definitely something to watch for. And again, we're still a few days away, but this system is supported by all models. Just, again, there are some differences. You can see that we have quite a bit of snow as well. I mean, much of Pennsylvania. This is combining that first event with that second one, but still, by the end of this upcoming, if you go from a week from today, if you have no snow on the ground, you might end up next Monday with, over a foot in some areas and well over a foot in many areas across potentially Canada, especially where it's colder, and these amounts are too little for what it's showing because it's assuming a 10-to-1 ratio, which is kind of a wetter snow. Let's take a look at some other models that I can show you. So this is the NAM model. It's a good model, but it only goes out to 84 hours. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it goes far out enough to show us the system. You can see it shows that first wave of the system again, but nothing with that actual concerning part of it. And yeah, I'm pretty confident that this thing will be occurring just because of the fact that all three models show it. It's just, again, will it be as insane as the GFS shows at 937 millibars? Probably not. I would say the European probably has the best handle of it, but I just want to show you this model. This is a United Kingdom model. It's a good model. Let's see what its snowfall track is for the next 144 hours. You can see right there, it does show that system. Icon model, another one. It's a German model. These are kind of like not my main models I look at, just kind of the sub ones because they aren't as accurate usually. But you can see this one also, a very impressive system, snow that digs far into the deep south, and it rides up the east coast. Now, I want to go back and show you the European because if you recall, the European capped the millibars at around 960, which is, don't get me wrong, it's a very powerful system. But well, let's see what it showed, from the past several model runs, whether or not it has been increasing the system in strength or decreasing, what's the trend. And notice there's our first little system. You can see that actually yesterday at midnight, this system that's supposed to be affecting the Northeast this Thursday wasn't even supposed to hit the coast. So, and now it is. So you can see that this thing changes even 24 to 48 hours out, right? These weather conditions are extremely volatile. And notice, there's that little system that I'm talking about, and it's way weaker, way less organized, and with the most recent one, it's more organized. So a lot of things could change with this big one as well. Notice there's our band of very heavy snow occurring. It moves towards the east, and look, the European, since yesterday, has been showing that system, and actually, I would argue that it's more further towards the south, and it's a more stronger scenario with the most up-to-date model run, the most recent one. The 12Z1 from this is now exactly a day ago, because that was the one at midnight yesterday. This is exactly a day ago. Again, there's that little weak system on Thursday. You can see that yesterday, it barely showed that system whatsoever. Now it shows a bigger system. So I'm mentioning that because that just goes to show you that this big one could be changed quite a bit still, quite significantly. And look, there's that snow. It's a bit further towards the north. That's been a trend that the system is kind of sagged towards the south with most models. And look, there's that nasty system. Again, it's further towards the north, but it's not as strong. Notice that it's at 981. It's a nasty system, but it's nothing extreme. And the most latest European model, really, and really the GFS and the Canadian all show an absolute monster out of this system. Nasty, nasty storm. So we'll have to keep an eye on this for sure. I'll let you guys know, about future updates probably every day for this upcoming week, as this thing definitely warrants attention. But for now, that is basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe. And yes, just to let you know that this system, in terms of its timing, most models agree generally, but this would be starting around really Friday, even late Thursday for, say, areas like Oklahoma, Texas, and even earlier for areas like Kansas and Nebraska. And it's already occurring for cities or areas like Idaho, Montana. But again, that's just a little piece of it. It really starts getting its act together on Friday. So it's still Monday. We still have a little bit of time left to get the details worked out, but definitely a nasty system. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya. Bye.